All right, I'm not here on my own accord. They're holding me hostage. I just got to get this message out. Oh, Pastor Larry was like, Luke, do you mind saying a few words to the church? And I was like, yes, I do. This is not what I do. But anyways, I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Larissa, for encouraging me. She's like, get up there and say something. I'm back from Arizona. We went to a wedding, and it was just a great time. When we're there, I literally was getting a little emotional. Not too bad, but I was a little emotional. And I told my wife, I said, everything is good. Everything is good when things like this are happening. It's like the world is crazy. We just spent time in the city, and everything was just being directed towards God. And all the imperfection that is there, represented by me and everyone else, when our minds were all being focused towards the greatest relationship outside of knowing God on earth, marriage, and the vows. It just was a beautiful time. On the way back, it was from Arizona. Thank you for the blessings, or the prayers rather, in church about our getting home safe. God answered our prayers. We got home safe. It was nice. And Ernie, I did hear your message on the Nephilim and the Book of Revelation, or no, it was on Fellowship. It was really good. But speaking of Revelation and the end of the world, we have a little sneak peek of a shirt that we designed. It's going to be coming out. I think this Sunday we're going to have a reveal. Is that correct? So it is awesome. It's a couple on a beach sitting there, and it says, and the title of the picture is, in fact, let's just show it right here. There it is. And it's a couple sitting on the beach, enjoying it, and it says, we don't have to worry about tomorrow. And the concept is that the world is opening up, and revelation is coming, the last day of the world. And as Christians, there it is. Do not worry about tomorrow. So, anyways, I don't know why I went on that, but so we're around the city. We're checking things out. We're exploring. It's fantastic, and you get this feel of a little uneasiness. And as much as it's beautiful and we're exploring, I just feel this sense of, where's God in all of this, and how is He represented? And inside me, I'm thinking, well, God's in me. God's in my wife. God's in all the Christians that are here. Because I don't know who's what. But even though there's this underlying beat of the city, from the commerce to the buildings to the slogans you see, the conversations, and it really just reminded me that we are God's voice to people. We are an extension rather of God to people, and that's part of our call. And so I, for one, am grappling with that. Is the Lord going to bring someone into my life? Am I going to be able to share my faith? And I think the first thing I think of is when it comes to sharing faith, because that's really what I'm going to talk a little bit about, is when we're sharing our faith, it's not a sale thing. Like, I sent a little gift to all my friends. It's always this used car salesman, and he's got these glasses on. He's always going, oh yeah. And he's always making sales. And I think sometimes as Christians, when we get insecure, we think that we have to give the right sales pitch. We have to say it the right way, know our audience, so we can give them the right deliver. And it's just not that at all. And Paul says, I'm not ashamed, because it's God who has the power to save. God is the one doing it. This is the truth that we're all born into. And we're just sharing what we know to be true. And sometimes it's hard for me even to imagine what it would be like just walking around this world not having the answers that I have in my heart. And there's so many people that just do. They just live life not knowing where they came from, not knowing why they exist, not knowing where good and evil comes from, not knowing where they're going to go when they die. This is really weird, by the way, because usually in conversations when I'm talking so much, and I'm used to talking fast and a lot before someone else interrupts me, but there's no one to interrupt me, so this could be a little weird. So, sharing our faith. When I think about that, I one, think about that idea of I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving people the truth. Two, my own story. So to be ready in season, out of season, what does that look like? What does it look like for you? And I think sometimes it's harder when we share faith with family and people who are real close to us. I think the idea of missionary work and going out and speaking to strangers is actually a little easier, because you feel a little detached from it. And they're not like, hey, I know you though, but you do this, you do that. Anyways, so that's the thing. I have my computer here. I could do found something on chat, but I did not. These are my own notes. Let's see. Let's go into how all three connect. That was one of my bullet points. So, to be bold, to not be ashamed of the gospel, not be ashamed of what we believe, because it's truth. If it wasn't truth, it's like, don't be afraid to sell this chop because this stuff really works. The idea is because it's the truth, we know it's true. So be bold in the fact that it's true. Be prepared and be gentle. This is a hard one for me. So being prepared is what I was talking about, thinking about that idea. Well, who's God going to bring into my life? What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? But also to be gentle, really, because I have a tendency to be a little brass, and there's maybe a time for that. But the overall message is gentle. I think I'd much rather be wrong for erring on the side of gentleness than being right on the side of being extra brash. But that's my thing. I have to work on that. Being gracious and wise. There's a difference between being smart and wise, and so I'm not going to go into that. But really, the idea is a deeper understanding of collected thoughts and how to act on those thoughts, and I'm not articulating that perfect, but anyways. So Jesus commands us. He says, with all authority given unto me, and like he's basically saying, I'm God. Go and share and make disciples and live together in community. I'm definitely paraphrasing. And live in fellowship. And the Bible goes on to show us how to do that. But I think the sadness that I felt in the city when I'm there is really something that I grew up with, always being told. Like, Luke, what do people want? What do people want? And I'd be like, I don't know, Dad, money? And he's like, maybe, but no. What does everyone long for? And of course, as a PK, I'm going, oh, God. Yes, son, but you're cheating. Really, the idea is fellowship. Humans want to be connected. And I think that the sadness in the city is I see so much false connection. So I'm totally judging a little bit here, but I think it's true. I think, in fact, I know it's true. It's that there's a lot of disconnect and people connecting on very shallow surfaces. And so to bring us full circle, if I can at least, if there is a circle, is the idea that when Pastor Ernie's talking about fellowship, that I was thinking about, and Adam talked about it in the introduction, is that we're called to fellowship as Christians and to live out our Christian life. And when we do it, that's where we find healing. That's where we find this fullness of God. That's where the Holy Spirit shows up. That's where all that stuff. And that's where we get into church. And more than anything, that's what I think about when I'm away a little bit, is think about the blessing and the unity of fellowship and what it really means and how important it is. And one, we want to share eternal life with people. That's our call, and Jesus wants us to do that. God asks us to do that, tells us to do that, rather. But also it's to ask people to be a part of something where we can love on people and they can be loved, and we can pray for one another and teach one another and learn together. And that's what church is. And our church, it being a small church, I've always thought of it as this extended family. And inviting people into the family wasn't always as comfortable for me, because I was like, this is my family time, and not just everybody come. But as I get older and I have kids of my own, I think about, no, I do want more people to be a part of this and to see this. And I think we ought to think like that more as our church, as we get comfortable in who we are. But to really bring people along the journey, invite them into the family, to come and have dinner with us, so to speak, which is another t-shirt we're doing, which is pretty cool. So that's really it for me. I think at this point it was really just to share a couple thoughts that I had, and somewhere along the line, I hope there's some good that came out of it. We're continuing to pray for Joy. We love you, Joy. We miss you, and we are steadfast in praying for you. And so, Aunt Joy, get better soon, recover well, and through this, we're all growing in our faith together. So that's another part of being part of our church family, is that you're not in things alone. So that's that. Thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit. Pastor Larry will be back next week, I'm sure. Thanks for letting me share a few thoughts. Not that you had any choice in it. Thanks for this. Okay, talk to you.